If you guys have stuck around this long and are still watching the videos, I appreciate you guys because I know I post so infrequently that it's probably really annoying. If you are new to the channel, my name is Jordan, this is JDH Aquatics, and here we are pretty much doing reefing and aquariums in my apartment while I'm in college. If you follow along with the videos, then you guys realize that the Innovative Marine 20-gallon Nuvo is not here. So the mixed reef is no longer set up. It's broken down and cleaned and set up, or it's not set up, but it's broken down and cleaned and put under my bed, and I'm not gonna sell it, I'm just keeping it for the day that I have the inspiration to set up another tank. I do have 2 new tanks to show you guys, so we're gonna get into that. I'll explain the 10-gallon over there because that's gonna be a whole different series of setting up a beginner saltwater tank on a budget. Yeah, I need to show you guys the new 38-gallon because it's beautiful. So let's get into it. This is the replacement for the 20-gallon Nuvo. In the 20-gallon we had a bunch of different kinds of corals. That would consider that a mixed reef. It was getting really filled out, so we needed to upgrade, and this is the upgrade. It's a Fiji Cube 38-gallon peninsula. It's roughly 3 feet long by about 16 inches deep, 16 inches tall. So it's a good platform, good dimensions. I've got a decent aquascape in there. It was pretty easy to set up. It's just 3 bases and then these 2 arches on the top. And then I laid all my coral on top, which we'll get into the livestock more towards the end, or at least the end of this tank. But yeah, good dimensions. We've got a nice aquascape going down the middle there. And then on top for lighting, we've got the 2 Aquanites. I've been running with these lights ever since I started this channel on the Innovative Marine 30-gallon long. I had 2 I had 2 of the Aquanite LEDs on there. So let me kind of give a rundown on the lighting that I had for this tank. So I had the 2 Aquanites, and then I had a company called New Psych send me out their K7 Pro. So I threw that on the tank and ran that for about a month without the Aquanites, but I just saw that I needed a little bit more light coverage in the tank. Not so much intensity because this light puts out a ton of power. I have it turned down to about 40% at peak hours, and then the rest of the day it's at like 20%, and then both of the Aquanites are also at about 20%. As for my lid, the Fiji Cube lid that they sell separately from the tank is $175, which is more than 1/3 of the cost of the tank, and I thought that was just ridiculous. So I went to Home Depot and I got some egg crate. This is like the college dorm cheap budget way to build a lid. It keeps the fish in and it distributes the light a little bit better. It's really easy to cut, and like I said, it's cheap. To get, I think, like a 48 by 24 inch section, it's like $18. So it left me a little bit to put on the 10-gallon, which, like I said, we'll get into a little bit later. Flow, we've got the Jabeo SLW10s. We had both of these in the 20-gallon Nuvo as well. I say that brand wrong. It's actually pronounced Jabao. I say Jabeo, but it's pronounced Jabao. And I had a couple different of their power heads in my 30-gallon like 2 years ago. And then when I downsized to the 20-gallon, I got their SLW series. These are the SLW10s. I got 2 of those pushing water kind of on the midsection, just front to back, or excuse me, side to side. And then on the top, I have a Jabao SCP-70 wave maker or gyre. So that's pushing water across the top. And as you guys can see, there's some decent flow in the tank. It's moving a little bit of water, but it's not pushing too much. The coral's got a nice flow on this side, and all the corals on the top seem to like this surface flow. I also have the 2 return nozzles from the Innovative Marine return pump that I'm using. That's pushing water just directly across the front of the glass here. Now we'll go ahead and take the lid off so you guys can see the all-in-one system, and I'll show you guys literally how easy it is to take this lid off. Just a few fingers in it with my freaking claw of a hand, and then you just slide it off. Now that the lid's off, you can really see how nice this tank is. I feel like I'm hyping it up. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys think this thing is nice. I'm very pleased with how it came out. I love all the different colors, and then how I have the plants over here. I think it looks aesthetically pleasing. But with the lid off and the flow and all the surface ripples and everything, you can really see how cool this tank looks. I'm gonna have to use my phone as a flashlight, but the inlet for the overflow over here, or the all-in-one chamber, it pours into a bag of carbon with some filter floss below it, and then we have the inlet for our ATO right there. Over in this chamber, we've got our heater on that side. It's tucked way below, but the Cobalt 150 watt heater. And then we've got the Fluval PS1, I believe, their protein skimmer. So that is working good. It's getting some good gunk. And then in this chamber, we've got the ATO sensor, as well as our return pump, which is the Innovative Marine return pump, like we've said. So that's the full setup. Super simple in the all-in-one chamber. Not a lot of mechanical filtration. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn on the bedroom light. That way it makes it a little bit easier to see over here what I got going on. So over here I've got my ATO reservoir, which is under these plants. But then some more egg crate back here. I've got my DIY control panel that just houses all of my remotes for the power heads and the pumps and stuff like that. I've got my ballast for the main LED right there, just so it gets proper ventilation, and then timer for the aquanites. Just kind of keeps everything organized. It was a rat's nest of cords before, and I know it still looks kind of messy, but I know where everything is and I'm able to access it, so that's the main thing. Diving into the livestock and what we got going on in the tank. We still have the original pair of clowns that I've had since the 30-gallon Innovative Marine that you guys saw on this channel. That's what started it. So same pair of clowns. These guys are at least 2.5, maybe even 3 years old, so they're still rocking, which is sick. We also have a pair, or they're two females, the orange purple-eyed Antheus. Controversial fish for this tank because they are swimmers and they can get a little bit large, but they're still small right now, so if they start to get big, I will definitely take them out of this tank. And then we have a very, very, very small school of green chromis. There's 3, but there's 2 right there. I don't know where the 3rd one is. We also have our cleaner shrimp that's under there, and a sea urchin. Oh, geez, I just smacked you guys on the glass. We got a sea urchin right there. And we've got 5 of these Astrius, I believe. But yeah, 5 of these snails, and then 1 large guy right here. I don't know the name of him, but I've had him for years as well. He's always just kind of hitchhiked along through all the tanks that I've set up, so he's still in there. That's pretty much all the livestock besides the coral, so let's jump into that right now. Starting on the back side, we've got the 2 LPS that we love and are going to keep forever, is the green bubble. So we're keeping LPS on these back walls because we don't want them to sting any of these softies. We got the green bubble on the back, and then on the right side we've got the Duncan, which is doing amazing. It's loving all the flow from the dryer right there, and it's getting some indirect but nice coverage of light. So the Duncan's doing really good back there. On the sand bed is where we keep our toadstools. So on this back left side we've got a more brown but nice fluffy toadstool. That guy decided to open up that way, and we can't really see him that well, but that's okay. We also have a nice green base with white polyp toadstool in the front here. Again, kind of opened up more towards that side rather than the front, but at least we can see him. He is growing and doing really well. And then we've got this green guy right here, which is 2, but a much smaller one, and then the larger guy, of course. This is another green polyp, but a brown base, and then another green polyp with a brown, little bit less browny, more of like a purpley, but still a brown base. All kind of look the same. I love my toadstools. I'm going to keep adding more, but oh yeah, we forgot about this guy too. Brown polyp, brown base, but he's big and juicy. From this side you can really see like the base of it. I don't know, in person this thing looks massive, but he's growing, he's doing good. What I like about this tank is we still have little bits of Kenya tree popping up. Even though we took the mother colony and traded it into an LFS, we still have little bits popping up, and pieces will float in the sand and I can pick them up and we'll be able to put them in this tank, which is the frag tank. We'll talk about that soon, I promise. But yeah, so we still got a little bit of the Kenya tree, got our green star polyp that is always kicking it with us, got a little mushroom at the top with some more of that Kenya tree. Then we've got a nice new colony of this green and tan Cinelaria. It's a bicolor colony, so on that back side it's more green, and then on this front side it's a little bit more tan. And then to the right is a coral that I actually don't quite know what it is. It's kind of like a cross between green star polyp and a pulsing xenia. The hands kind of wave like a pulsing xenia, but as you can see, it's like a beige-ish green. It looks nothing like that in color, but kind of does. Or the polyps are similar, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. If you guys know what it is, let me know in the comments down below. But to the right of that, we've got some green fuzzy mushrooms. I really like the color of these. They look awesome in the blue light. To the right of that, kind of in the back, is another sort of leather. It's a Kenya tree, I believe, but it's got some nice green hues on the base of it, and then just the tan polyps that are extending out. I really like the look of the polyp itself, like the shape of the coral rather than the color, so that's why I bought it. But under the blue light, I don't know if you guys can really tell, but there is a little bit of green on that base, so it's kind of cool. Didn't see it at the pet store, but when I put it in my tank, it popped out. And the last coral is my big green Cinelaria that's doing awesome as well. This thing is really juicy. Giving it this whole right side of the tank, hoping that it'll just kind of fall over and be big. I'm going to be fragging that a little bit too as soon as I get this tank all set up. But that's all the livestock for this tank. Incredibly simple. I feed them once a day. I fill up the ATO like once every 2 weeks. I do a water change once every 2 weeks. I put in my reef to reef once every 2 weeks when I do the water change. And that's pretty much it. I have a good bed of lighting over it in high flow, but the lighting is turned way down. With that bed of light, I do get some green hair algae, which kind of is what just comes with the tank, is what I'm starting to realize. I've tried to adjust the nutrients and play around with different chemical filtration, but I've seen other bad things come of that, like dinos. And I'd rather deal with green hair algae than dinos and other different stuff that I don't really know how to deal with. So we'll just keep manually removing the green hair algae as it comes. And hopefully as the tank ages, there won't be so much of these algae outbreaks. The plan for this tank is to add maybe like 2 or 3 different pieces of coral. I would like to get a weeping willow or just a long polyp toadstool, and then maybe some clove polyps and a maybe, I don't know, a couple different other like leathers, a couple other different softies. I always have different ideas in my head, but I like how the tank is right now. It's kind of set on autopilot and I'm able to just sit back and enjoy it. So let's go ahead and move on to the 10-gallon. This is a tank that I'm really excited to get more in depth with. I'll cover it more in a separate video where it's dedicated towards just this tank, but of course in this video I want to update you guys on both aquariums. This is a really cool angle. Sitting like this and looking at the tank, that's kind of sick. But back to this aquarium. It's the 10-gallon Anemone frag tank. It's the kitchen sink. I stole that from Reef Builders, so Jake Adams, if you're watching this, which you're probably not. But if you're watching this, I'm sorry, I kind of stole that from you. But the kitchen sink aquarium, I couldn't decide between doing a frag only or a nem only tank, so we're doing both. I do have a green BTA back there, which we'll go into a little bit later. So we're still playing around with the idea of doing frags in this tank. It might end up just being anemones only. Basic rundown of this aquarium. It's a standard 10-gallon, so something like you'd see at Petco or PetSmart. However, it's got the black silicone, and I did that to match the black silicone on my Fiji cube. And it's a top fin aquarium, so if you go to PetSmart and try to buy this aquarium, it's going to come as a kit, so it's going to come with like a filter, heater, and all this stuff. You can use it if you want to. In my opinion, the top fin stuff that it comes with is just garbage, so I would only get it for the aquarium. However, I bought mine used off of OfferUp for like 25 bucks, just the aquarium. So really good deal. I was able to get the black silicone. It's pretty much a brand new tank. And yeah, that's how I got the tank. So standard 10-gallon size though. It's the 20 by 12 by 10, something like that. Those are rough dimensions. It's got no sand, so as you guys can see, it's bare bottom. I'm gonna try to stick with this and really stay true to trying to make a bare bottom work. I always end up putting sand in the aquarium just because I hate how bare bottoms look in the beginning process of an aquarium with having no coral and stuff. It just looks really bare. But I'm gonna stick with it and we're gonna try to go bare bottom. We've got about, I don't know, maybe 6 pounds, 5 or 6 pounds of live rock in there, if that. That's just housing, of course, the beneficial bacteria. We've got an Aqua Clear 70 hanging on the side, so this is something that I also kind of stole from another YouTuber. Another reefing YouTuber, Inappropriate Reefer, he uses this on, he had a 10-gallon setup and he had the Aqua Clear setup as a refugium. I would like to set up this refugium, or excuse me, I would like to set up this Aqua Clear to house mangroves at some point and put a plant light hooked up to it, but that'll be a different project in a different video. We've got the Aqua Clear setup. That is our source of filtration and flow. We've got no heater on this tank. My apartment is temperature regulated at 77, 78 degrees, so we're going to try to stick with no heater in this aquarium. I've been checking the temperature regularly and it's been sitting around 77, so I think we're good there. And for lighting, we've got a cheap, or cheaper, I wouldn't say cheap, but compared to something like an AI Prime, it's a little bit cheaper. It's a Newsite K7 Mini, so it's the same company as the Newsite K7 Pro. It's just the mini version, so it's one puck. This is, I think, 60 watts and that's 140 watts, so it's a little bit less, but still powerful light for one puck. Also app controllability for both of these lights. That's also cool, and that light is just hovering over this tank. And not much overspill, as you guys can see. Still kind of capping right there, so haven't done any par testing, but it sits at about 50% intensity at 60 watts. So there we go. And of course, for the lid, we've just got the egg crate. This will come off when we put the mangroves in, but we've got that just to make sure, I don't know, it's just to match. I'm freaking OCD. But yeah, in the tank we've got the 5 or 6 pounds of live rock, and then we've got all of the frag racks that I've kind of collected over the past few months, with having the 20 gallons. So we've got, I think, 8 there and like 12 there and another like 9 or 10 there. We'll spread it out, but we've got enough frags for like 15 to 20 different little pieces. We're definitely not going to buy that many. I think at most for frags, especially if we do anemones only, or excuse me, if we do anemones in here and expect them to stay on the rock, but have maybe 3 to 5 different nems in here with frags, I'm only going to want maybe 5 to 10 different pieces of coral up here. So I don't know, that's getting really specific. We'll have to talk about that later. But this is the frag nem tank. Still throwing it up in the air whether we're going to stick to just nems only, or if we're going to do both frags and nems, but definitely nems. So I guess getting into this in the last part of this video, we'll go ahead and talk about the green BTA that I got back here. I went to a pet store and went there to get some water and ended up seeing this guy for a ridiculous price and had to pick him up. So I bought him in addition to this breeder box, and I had him in the 38 gallon, but it was kind of small, so I didn't want him in there anymore. So I put him in here. I know the tank is still pretty new and it's still cycling, so he's back there. He's been doing okay. He hasn't come out of the breeder box, which is kind of weird. I'm hoping he'll do it. It's like kind of the first day he's been extending his polyps outside of the box. So hopefully he'll come and attach himself to some of the rock here soon, and I can take that box out of the tank. But that is the 10 gallon. So these are the new tanks for the channel. Going back to me posting infrequently, again, I apologize. I'm trying to do my best in time management, but with school and work going on and just learning how to live on my own in the apartment, it's been a ride. So I'm trying to do as much as I can to get the content out there for you guys. I'm gonna try a new editing style where I pretty much do less editing and do more run-on clips, because it saves time, and that way I'll be able to post more for you guys. So if you enjoy the content, drop a like, let me know how you guys like the new tanks. But we're gonna try to get some more updates for you guys, especially on the nem only tanks. So let me know if you guys are excited for this one. Let me know what you guys want to see in it, anemones or, you know, frags or both or what. So let me know in the comments down below, but I will see you guys next time.